Derek next in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Hi, Derek.
Yes, how you doing, Hank? I'm so grateful for your program. I really enjoy it a lot. Yes, I have a question that has been bothering me for a while now. It's all about the end time, right? Because the Bible said this gospel going to be preached in every corner of the earth. Then comes the end, right? But what I want to understand, how is it going to be like for those that they hear the gospel and perish and die? So how are they going to be judged?
Well, the truth of Scripture is always the same, and that is that we are judged according to the light that we have given. And the truth that we embrace as Christians is that while God dwells in obscurity on the one hand, He also dwells in light. In other words, if we search after Jesus Christ, we always will receive the light that is necessary. And I've said this many times on the broadcast, but the quintessential example, I think, comes from Nicodemus. Nicodemus is asking Jesus Christ questions, and in the context, Jesus is telling them that light came into darkness, but men loved darkness rather than light because their deeds were evil. The point being that the problem is never that there's not sufficient light. The problem is that men despise light, and because they despise light, they do not receive further light. As long as we respond to light, we will receive all the light that is required to have fellowship with God. Now, you go to the Old Testament, and there were saints like Abraham that do not have the kind of light, or did not have the kind of light that you do in the present. He saw, as it were, through a glass dimly. Today we have the requisite knowledge that he did not have, but he was a friend of God because he responded to the light that he had, and he worshiped the coming Christ through types and shadows. Now, Christ has come, and we worship the reality of Christ who has come. And again, we have, as believers, a light that is greater than all other lights, but it is because we've responded to other light. We've responded to the light of creation. We don't take the sun and make it our God, but we recognize that there was a God who created the sun. We also do not dismiss the light that God has placed on the tablet of our consciousness. We respond to it. And thus, when we do, we receive further light. So it's never the absence of light that damns, it's the despising of light that damns. And that's why Paul could say, when he was on Mars Hill, that from one man God created every nation of men that they should inhabit the whole earth, and he did that so that men might reach out for him and find him, though he is not far from each one of them. Which is to say that if people respond to the light that they have been given, and that light is voluminous. Just imagine every single day we see God's created handiwork, and then we have that inner knowledge. If we respond to that, then God will reveal himself. If we reject it, then we reject it because we don't want light. We despise light, as Jesus said to Nicodemus.
Thanks for the explanation. For me, I'm from Africa, right? And so, like, most of our people, they were illiterate. So, like, for me, I grab it, but I was just a little concerned about those with less education, like how can they really understand there is a God? How would they really, like, what some of the things that will convince them,
Sure.
Or whatever those God did not talk to them.
But God does talk to them. That's the whole point, Derek. I mean, the point is that God does talk to them, and he speaks to them through the still small voice within, as well as the blazing lights above, as I just mentioned. But the other thing that we have to remember is that God in his grace sends to those who are open to the light that they have received, he sends in his grace further light. It could be a light that comes from you, Derek. It could be from a missionary. It could be from God's unique, special revelation to someone, as Christ appeared to Paul on the road to Damascus. That is not our duty to understand. All we can understand is that God, if we truly trust Him, that God will reveal Himself to those who pant after Him as a deer pants after the water brooks. That we can be certain of. Although we don't have all the answers right now, we can be certain that if people genuinely search after light, God is not going to throw obstacles in their way.